And away from that, in recent weeks, the world has been witnessing a series of political crises pushing governments into a turmoil. Israel, United Kingdom and India are the latest ones in this list. Rebels in the ruling parties raising serious questions on the leadership qualities and ideological stand of their leader. On Monday in Israel, the fragile and short-lived coalition government will present a bill in the parliament to dissolve the government, forcing the state to set a fifth election in 3 years. Once the bill is passed, Prime Minister Naftali Bennett will step down and Foreign Minister Yair Lapid will become interim Prime Minister until a new government is formed. The ideologically divided coalition lost its thin majority in April following a defection by a lawmaker. The government faced its biggest setback on June 6th after the opposition, along with rebel coalition members, helped to scrap a bill intended to renew legal protections for Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank. As Israel waits for another election, the possible return of the country's longest-serving Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu becomes more clearer. Netanyahu has called the political crisis a great news for millions of Israeli citizens and vowed to return to office as Prime Minister. Now, in the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative Party received a major blow in the by-elections, which the opposition are calling a message from the voters to the Prime Minister. The loss of 2 parliamentary seats was a crushing blow to the governing Conservative Party, which also promoted and prompted the resignation of the party's core chairman and intensified doubts about the future of Britain's Prime Minister. The loss of Wakefield seat indicates that Johnson's ability to win again in these areas at the next national election is compromised. The by-elections were triggered by high-profile resignations of Conservative lawmakers, one who admitted watching pornography in Parliament and another one was found guilty of sexually assaulting a teenage boy. Johnson has also resisted intense pressure to resign after he was fined for the Partygate scandal. Despite all the pressure and criticism, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson pledged to keep going and will do more to tackle a cost of living crisis in his country. Back in India, the political disruption in the Indian state of Maharashtra has now become a major power decider between 2 coalitions. The Shiv Sena government in the western state of Maharashtra is facing its worst political crisis since it came to power in 2019. After following a resistance from a section of party leaders, the dissidents are upset to the functioning of the Nationalist Congress Party and the Congress Party, with which the Shiv Sena forms a coalition government in Maharashtra. The row erupted on June 20th since rebel leaders went incommunicado and travelled to the Indian state of Gujarat. On June 21st, the rebel leaders were taken to Assam via a chartered flight, where they were all driven to a luxury hotel amid tight security. A senior Shiv Sena party leader indicated that the Legislative Assembly may be dissolved following the ongoing political crisis in the state. The Shiv Sena, which heads the coalition, has 55 MLAs, followed by allies NCP 53 MLAs and the Congress Party 44 MLAs. The 288 Assembly, where the current simple majority mark is 144. These political crises around the globe will find a way to settle in some way or other. But what really gets disrupted are not the political strategies or leadership vision of these leaders, but the hope of the voters who are voting for a stable and developing government. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.